magic bullet, not a miracle, right? So think about what would be most helpful for you right now. Where is your biggest challenge? Where is your biggest pain point? Remember, if we talked about this a few weeks ago, we talked about what skill are you going to learn? I just made a new presentation, the cost of a bad client. And it really, a lot of that stems from our conversations here, right? In all of those challenging situations that you actually face with people every day. So what's the biggest, if I can give you a magic bullet, right? We did a survey for all of our 10 by 10 people. And one of the people said, what would be most helpful for you after the course? And they said, if Chirag could move into my house. Very nice of the person to say. And then other people, if he could sit next to me and just answer all the questions, right? So let's see what we have here. Opportunity for open houses to generate new clients. So if you want an opportunity to generate new clients, Wendy, right? Send an email out to other agents in your office, have a sales manager, tell your sales manager, let them know, right? Like, you know, I always say you wish for it, you work for it, and then eventually it happens and you have to be ready for the opportunity. Believe me, there are plenty of agents that don't want to work on a weekend that would give someone an opportunity for an open house. Right. So the other thing, don't shake your head like that. The answer is yes. So think about it. There's proactive and reactive. And this is very good. I would find people that are individual agents or small teams, and I would just introduce myself and I would send them a video. Hey, I'm Wendy. I specialize in blank and blank. You know, I'm looking for opportunities for open houses to meet other potential buyers. If there's ever a weekend that you need to fill in, or you'd like somebody just to be an advocate or a supporter of your team and not really form a team, please let me know. I call it the Tinder model, right? There are agents that have a lot of leads that don't want to have a team. It's like having kids and having a family, right? And I tell them, just do the Tinder model, right? When you want to swipe that way, swipe that way. If you don't want to swipe that way, don't swipe that way. So look for individual agents that have high listening counts, that are really busy, because oftentimes they need help, right? So I would pull up the roster and literally prospect them. You'd be surprised what you get when you come from a place of contribution and caring. Lee and Darlene, receiving referrals. If you need to receive referrals, you need to work backwards and say, how am I maximizing relationships so people think of me? Real estate's is very strange business, right? That people don't know after you sell them a home if you still are in business 1, 2, 3, 5 years later. Nobody knows. They don't know if you're part-time or full-time. And then we all have this delusion that we're taught on our social medias to look so busy. And then they think they're giving you, they think they're inconveniencing you by sending you a referral. Have you ever got what I call the drug dealer call? It's like, hey, Julia, would it be okay if I gave this person your phone number? And you're like, yes, like, of course, I want the referrals. But that shows that the people aren't trained properly, right? This goes back to the concept of extending the relationship, letting the people know that you're available, letting them know you want referrals, and letting them know you're always continuing to want to help more people. Time blocking for consistency, too many interruptions. Turn your phone off. The world's not going to end, Amy, and just keep moving forward. It's simple. Time blocking for consistency is a self-discipline problem. And if you can't be disciplined and do the things that you need to time block for, you need to find an accountability partner. Find somebody else who has the same challenge, right? So if you're distracted, you two should reach out to each other, go on Zoom, hold yourself accountable. And sometimes we'll do team meetings like this, right? Like we'll all just sit there and work. So people need to get things done. My team knows with me sometimes that they put me in a meeting, or Deborah will put me in a meeting, and I'm like forced to do that time block sometimes, because if not, I can get distracted just like everybody else. So find people to help you. Higher end deals. If you want to do higher end deals, you should start by doing higher end networking. Think about, where are these people? Where did they spend time? Who did they know? What groups do they assimilate with? This is a see and be seen business. So if you want to find higher end deals, you need to go into a place where people are. 0 to 1, you figure out where they are. 1 to 2, you start investing time into where they are. 2 to 3, you need discipline and consistency. And the third thing is you need and the fourth thing is you need patience. It takes time to build all this stuff out. But Keisha, you could do the same thing that Wendy's doing. Reach out to higher end agents and ask them to know to fill in for open houses. But if you want to fill in for open houses and you call somebody, you better know every single statistic in the market. You have to be a student first. You should know how many properties have been listed, how many went into contract, how many sold, list price to sales price, average days on market, and all of the local nuances. How many got withdrawn, how many were expired. Like you need to, if someone gives you the opportunity and says, why should I let you do this? You need to be able to answer that question. Finding new clients. Wayne, finding new clients is just a product of continuous activity. Videos, phone calls, text messages, coffees, lunches, dinners, breakfast, drinks. You just constantly need to be in front of people. Remember that whole 5 contacts a day, right? 5 contacts a day, 5 days a week, 10 months out of the year. It's what's that? 5, 10, 100. It's 1,000 contacts at a 1% conversion rate for people you know. That is 10 transactions. That is about consistency. Ooh, Steffi, yours might be my favorite. I find you as a constant participator in here, so thank you. I appreciate that about you. Admin help and the guts to let go of control. Okay, so let's talk about this. Hit control if you feel like you're a control freak here. Julie, hit control. I know you're a control freak. Renee, hit control. You're a control freak. Lisa, I think you're secretly a control freak. Irene's nodding her head. Okay. Steven, 100%, right? You're a control person. So Luciana's a control recovery person. You've recovered from having control, right? Okay, so let's spend some time talking about this and write this down. Being controlling means that you really care about the other person and the outcome they get. So we're not going to have a negative connotation, right? Being controlling means you really care about the other person and the outcome that they get. That's all that it is. It's not like some mental deficiency and anything else. Like, listen, I'm a huge advocate of once you label an experience, that's what it becomes. If you wake up and you're like, oh man, this day's going to suck, how can it be great? Right? It's like if you have a buyer that has unrealistic views of the market, hey, let's bring this person out and waste their time every weekend. They're never going to be at a home and they expect anything else but to happen besides them to complain and be mad at you. I'm going to tell my husband that. Well, then your husband shouldn't hear the rest of the stuff. If I was your husband, I'd say, great, then you could just do everything. I'll tell you what I want. And I'll just sit back and enjoy the ride. And some people are good with that, right? So, you know, it's interesting. There are a lot of people, I won't mention anyone's name, that have used the stuff they've used here in their actual human relationships and like, wow, Chirag, this stuff's like magic. It's actually quite helpful. But in the end, we're all just people, right? And when you understand and you have that self-awareness about yourself, then you can make a change. So you think about this, write these words down. Why, what, how. See, part of the reason that delegation and letting go doesn't work is the people that you're delegating to don't have the complete why. I've been on this weird drawing kick lately, so let me draw this out. This right here is your task, right? However, of course, my pen stops working. In real estate, isn't that one task, Steffi, generally connected to all of this different stuff? And this is where it all goes bad for you people. If they don't understand why they're doing something in the context of everything, what's the chance of them actually getting it right? I'm gonna unmute you. We'll make this interactive. Since you raise your hand, you'll get the benefit.
Yay. Hi.
How likely is it that they're actually going to understand it?
Oh, it's a very low chance of complete comprehension.
And in America, in American society, right, wrong, and different, doesn't every person want to know, well, why do I have to do this?
Yep.
Okay, so that's step number one into control recovery, right? Explain the why of the task with people. Like, why are you doing this, and what does it have to do with everything else, right? It's like in real estate, everything is connected together, right? They say in communication between men and women in relationships, one of the challenges is with men, it's like when we go out with our friends, we take that box out, and we're done with that box, we put it back in the closet, right? Then we're for a dinner with our family, we take our family box and we put it out back in the closet. Men are very, very much compartmentalize things, right? And when you have relationships with women, the dinner, the friends, and all this stuff, it's like the internet, everything's connected, right? And that's where the disconnect is, right? So if you're a female here and you've ever dealt with a male and felt that they've been insensitive to, like, how do you not realize this stuff is connected together? That's I see Iris nodding her head. That's the connection you need to make with your support staff. And when you're doing this, right, don't compartmentalize this. And for men, we need to realize, like, it's all connected, right? So if you're just giving somebody a task and it's an isolated thing, and then you're like, well, why would they do it like that? Like, my clients are going to see this whole thing. Well, you never told them about the whole thing, right? So the second rule of, like, control is you have to be willing to invest time into your people. You have to. The more time you invest into your team, the more success you can have. I remember it was probably like a month ago. I had all this crazy stuff I wanted to do and no one wanted to do it, right? And, like, this is probably a constant theme for anyone that works here. And then I was like, wait a second, let's not say that we can't do it. Let's ask how. So I labeled this thing Project Shutdown. Like, what are all the things that we need to stop doing to do this? And I see Brooke, you can see the look on her face. It took us about, maybe it took me about an hour to go through with them, right? And go through this all. And everyone's like, oh, so you guys feel good? They're like, yeah, we feel great. Like, all right, we can do this. But before that, the request, it was like, there's no way this is humanly possible. Like, you want to do this, everything's going to break. But it's spending that time as a leader with people, right? So that's the understanding the why. Then the second part is what? What does somebody have to do, right? Like, you need Steffi to be able to really identify the task. That's the what. Now, the third part is the most important part. How? How do they have to do it? How would you do it? And how clearly is that defined to somebody else? It's amazing. Real estate agents think entering a listing in the MLS is like some unique ability and gift. Why, what, how, Susie? Why, and then the what, and then the how. Now think about it. You give somebody a task, right? This is what they need to do. The second part is, what's the deadline that it's doing, right? Like, everything needs a deadline. Oh, hold on. CCD, sorry. Is it clear, right? Write these words down. CCD, it's an acronym. C, is it clear what you're telling the other person? Like, what they need to do, right? I saw somewhere yesterday, they said operates well with ambiguity. I'm like, that's a skill that you'd love to hire for, right? I love hiring people that operate well in ambiguity. Those are like my favorite people. So clear, is it clear what's being done? Concise. Is there a concise deadline when this is due that the person knows? And tomorrow morning, evening, or afternoon is bullshit. That does not count. There's no way that counts. Start adding the word by and the number after it. I need this by 12 p.m. I need this by 1 p.m. I need this by 3 p.m. We just had this with a vendor yesterday. It's like 6 o'clock and they're like, where's the things? They're like, oh, we said we get it to you by tomorrow. Well, what the hell is tomorrow? So I said, next time we go back, bless you, we need to go back and say by 12 p.m. And D, does the other person actually understand what you want them to do? CCD. So you give somebody a task, you ask them the question, Steffi, I want to make sure that I communicate this clearly. What did you hear that needed to be done? And sometimes you hear what these people say and you're like, what world are you living in? And other times you're like, wow, this is great. And then like, if you think about it, go back to now you look at this CCD here, right? It should be clear to the other person what's being required of them, right? The person should say, okay, what is being asked of me to do is blank. I need to get it done by 3 p.m. on this day. And this is exactly how you'd like it done. And as you do this, you'll get more momentum with people. And for everyone that has a hard time explaining things, go on Zoom just like this, record it just like we're recording, share your screen, do what you do in the special ways that you do it, and simply just talk through it. That's it. I click this button first, I go over here, and this is why I go over here, and this is what the client gets to see. Just sit there and explain it. Questions, Steffi? Would this now, if you explained a task to somebody in this much detail, would you feel a little more confident letting go? So give me your roadblocks, barriers, challenges. What do you got? I'm going to mute you again.
So I'm cool with, I don't need to know how the sausage is made. I'm cool with like giving instructions, but I think it's just the act of just literally giving the task over, making sure that it's done well and correctly for my clients and for myself. So it's more of the for me it's the delegation. But with the why, what, how, I'm the why, what's that? Sorry. No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, even with my kids, if I ask them to do something, if I don't give them a firm reason, like a why behind it, of course, it holds more meaning, especially when you attach it to how it'll make them feel and getting it done. So no, I get it. I need to just let go.
So I think for everyone, see, we went through this and she's still like, kind of like, I just need to let go. You need to know what success looks like for a task and be able to communicate that with somebody. And
Yeah.
then if people feel the same way she does, which is very normal, right? It's your business. It's not like you're giving somebody like a pie to make for you, right? Like, hey, here, just take this recipe and make it. It's cool if it gets messed up. There's actual people that you're dealing with. I would suggest you have people do this task for a mock client for you first, and then
Okay.
go through and give them feedback, right? Have them do this. Don't practice on your prospects. Don't do that, right? So go through, do it. And this will encourage you to become a better trainer of other people, right?
Mhm.
If you want to build a scalable business, you need to be able to create leverage.
Great. Thanks.
We walk through the task, screen share, and she repeats back and summarizes what I'm asking for, and also instructed her to time block task. So she walks somebody through the tasks and then has them repeat it back to them. You have to see how the other people do it, right? Clear and concise, Luciana. Good stuff. All right, so these are some really important principles, right? We've talked about prospecting, we've talked about time blocking, we've talked about delegation. Everyone should have a date on when they want to hire help, and that should be something everyone actively is working towards. If you want that whole freedom and flexibility of why you got into real estate, you need to hire help. So there's 3 categories of an agent's business. The first one is your unique ability, right? What is it that I and only I can do, right? Like, and that's all, Lisa, like client facing, right? Like you're the person to bring your clients out. Ideally, your clients, even if you have a team, they still want you to negotiate the deals, right? Like, so list out what are your unique abilities. Then there's 2 other areas to focus on, right? Outsource and in-house, and understanding the difference between the 2. Do you want to outsource your work, right? Like, Because if you in-house somebody, now you need to hire them, you need to train them, you need to spend time dealing with their challenges. There's an aspect of managing people's performance. All of those different things are part of hiring somebody. Right? A lot of people, I'll use a parent analogy. Some people are very happy to watch their nieces and nephews all the time because they know at the end of it, they can just give them back. At the end of the day, sayonara. And there are other people, you have parents and you got to deal with everything, right? So that's what you need to realize. But leverage and outsourcing is a gift. Outsourcing people are great because they get paid to do a job. And if they don't do the job well, they get fired, right? You have employees, it comes around with all kinds of stuff. So try to outsource as much as you can before you employ it. Social media, great thing to outsource. Contract to close, great thing to outsource. So start thinking through what you can outsource, because to get your business from where it is today to up here, you need to outsource and delegate in some way or fashion, because you need to create space and time for you to find more clients. So I wanted to make today more interactive and kind of get a pulse of kind of where everybody is. Does anyone else have any questions or where they're stuck, or what would be a magic bullet for them? Yes, I will. If you email me, if anyone wants a social media person, just email me. I can share the company that we use and I can make an introduction. We outsource our social media too. And Very Social is great as well. Ryan's a good dude. So there's two different options. I'm sure people have other ones. So I highly would recommend doing this. However, remember, depends where you are in your business, right? If you're really busy, I'm just going to use Lisa because I know her well. I would tell Lisa to spend $1,200 to $1,500 a month hiring like a VA to help her before I would tell her to outsource her social media. I would suggest every person hire a form of a virtual assistant before doing social media. Because social media is great. It's something you can do, but also you can take some of the stuff you have at Compass for free and do that yourself, right? And make it very basic. And by having a virtual assistant, you can have some, look, even if you paid somebody $20 an hour, right? And you found somebody locally to help you for, let's say, 15 hours a week, right? That's $300 a week times 4 weeks, that's $1,200. 3 hours a day of human help in America would be very helpful to any of you. There are plenty of people that want stuff to do. What is the name of that VA company with the Compass VAs? Composite. There it is. There's going to be a whole, they're going to launch a whole nother group of Compass vetted VAs soon as well. So hire an admin and some form of administrative help before. And if you need recommendations, post in our forum and let other people comment. So I'll share this with you here, as you guys are my people. In our event in Boston, we are going to unveil what I believe is the future of coaching. You know, in doing this now for, I don't know, 10 years and just at Compass for the last 4 years, I've really been able to understand where our challenges are as agents, right? And I was an agent too, candidly. And I spent God knows how much money on stuff that I never ended up with what I wanted, right? It's like, how are you in business 10 years going to all these conferences and still really don't know how to give the perfect listing pitch or presentation? Doesn't make sense, right? I see Corey smiling. There's no continuity. So, you know, we're working on creating one continuous solution where everything that you humanly need in your business can be found through us, right? Like we've been working on joint ventures and partnering with people and, you know, working with great people that want our advice, right? Because in the end, think about it. As a coaching company, we know you we know Compass and we know where you are and what will be helpful more than any vendor on their own. So what we're always is looking for is people to grow together. So what this will morph into, this group over the next few months for all of you, will be very exciting. You guys are all going to get, like, if you think this is valuable now, the price isn't changing. Nothing's changing for anybody except that we're all going to give you more value, more structure, more support, and more of a streamlined thing. So when we're sitting here having these conversations, it's like, okay, I can go over here, but this company actually knows all the stuff that Chirag talks about, what our philosophies are. Because isn't it challenging when you go to one coaching session and that's what you want, and then you go to a vendor and they tell you something completely different? It's like this hamster wheel we're all on. So it's just like at Compass, they're looking to take your transaction, make it in one place and make it less fragmented. I have the same view for your business. So I hope all of you will join us in Boston. We have people, I think, from like 15, 17 different states already. It's crazy. So it's fun. We're going to Irene Cook's hometown. So listen, I hope you guys really take this information today, and whether you have somebody or not, start planning what you want somebody to do. So if anyone is downtime, this is the stuff you should work on, right? Plan for your next hire. Make sure someone goes, oh, I don't have anything to do right now. I go, yeah, you do. You could sit in your CRM for 8 hours a day till it goes down to 0 and every contact's organized. And when it comes to your CRM and you're organizing it, remember the 10-second rule. If you don't know who the person is within the first 10 seconds and you don't have confidence reaching out to them, just archive them. Just get rid of them. If you're confused or have anything but confidence in the people in that CRM, you're never going to get the most out of it, because your brain will go to avoid pain before seeking pleasure. Meaning you're always like, should I reach out to this person? I don't really know. I haven't spoke to them. What are they going to think? As opposed to focusing on the 80, 90% of people in there that are excited and enjoy hearing from you. So that's what we have for today. Yes.
Chirag, do we have a job description anywhere? Susie Minkin here.
For an admin?
For an admin or for a VA?
I don't have a VA. Brooke, get Deborah's job description for an admin and we'll post it in the group.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Ask and you shall receive. Give and you shall get. So awesome. I love you all, and I will see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.